Do you feel like there needed to be 48 hours in a day to handle everything? Work, children, marriage, home. How do you balance all of this without going crazy? If this feeling accompanies you, you are not alone. The frenetic pace of modern life makes us feel like we're always racing against the clock, trying to fit in all our responsibilities without ever having a moment to breathe. But what if I told you that there was a way to take back control, to find balance without having to sacrifice yourself all the time? In today's video, we're going to talk exactly about that. You will discover practical and effective strategies to better organize your time, reduce stress, and avoid burnout. In the end, you will not only understand how to manage your routine more lightly, but you will also feel that it is possible to live without that constant feeling of overload. So stay with me, because what I'm going to tell you can transform the way you face your days. Adult life brings enormous challenges, and one of the biggest is finding a balance between all your responsibilities. It's as if we're constantly on a tightrope, trying to manage everything without falling. And when we can't, guilt appears. Am I being a good father, a good mother, a good professional? Am I dedicating enough time to my marriage? These questions don't leave many people's heads, and the feeling of failing in all areas at the same time generates a huge emotional weight. The problem is that when we are unable to establish limits and priorities, we enter a cycle of exhaustion without realizing it. And that's exactly what happened to Anna and Marcelo, a couple who, like many, started with big dreams, but got lost along the way. Anna and Marcelo have always been great partners. When they got married, they imagined a balanced life where they would be able to grow professionally, take care of the house, be present in their children's lives, and still find time for themselves. But the reality was very different. As the years went by, the pressure of work increased, the children demanded more attention, and the demands of everyday life seemed never-ending. Marcelo started working late, justifying that he was guaranteeing a better future for his family. Anna, on the other hand, found herself overwhelmed with the house and children, feeling like she did everything alone. At first, they were just minor annoyances, but they soon turned into frequent fights. They barely had time to talk, and when they did, the tone was already frustrated and tired. The relationship began to cool, and the children also felt the impact. Little by little, the family that was once so close began to live automatically, as if they were just colleagues sharing the same space. This imbalance has real and profound consequences. Chronic stress affects mental and physical health, causing anxiety, insomnia, and even more serious problems, such as depression and burnout. Distancing in a marriage can lead to a loss of emotional connection and, in many cases, even divorce. Children often end up growing up feeling that their parents are always too busy for them, which can impact their self-esteem and emotional development. And the scariest thing? This all happens subtly, without us realizing how much we are losing in the rush. But the good news is that there is a way out of this cycle. Small adjustments can completely transform the way we deal with our time, our relationships, and our own energy. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. So, if you've ever felt like you're always rushing and can't handle everything, stay with me, because the next strategies will help you turn the game around. If there's one thing we need to understand, it's that this imbalance doesn't happen by chance. It is the result of a series of factors that have accumulated over time, many of them rooted in the way society works today. From a young age, we are taught that success means always being busy, always producing, always chasing the next goal. Social networks show people who seem to have everything under control. Brilliant careers, perfect families, impeccable homes. This creates an impossible standard to achieve and makes us feel insufficient all the time. The pressure to be an exemplary professional, a present parent, an attentive partner, and also take care of your health and social life is simply unrealistic. And when we try to meet all of these expectations at the same time, frustration is inevitable. We push ourselves too hard. We feel guilty for not being able to handle everything, and in the end, we just end up wearing ourselves out even more. Another big problem is the lack of organization and planning. Many people live in automatic mode, putting out fires all the time without ever stopping to structure a routine that really works. The result? The day ends, but the feeling is that nothing has been done. This creates even more anxiety and reinforces the idea that there is never enough time. But the truth is that most of the time it's not the lack of time that's the problem, but rather the way it's being used. And when this happens within a relationship, things get even more complicated. Lack of clear communication about each other's needs and expectations leads to accumulated resentment. Marcelo thought he was helping by dedicating himself to work, but Anna felt that she was carrying all the responsibilities alone. Neither of them was wrong, but without open dialogue and strategies for dividing tasks, the relationship became increasingly frayed. This is a very common mistake, expecting the other person to understand what we feel without us saying it clearly. Furthermore, there is a powerful emotional factor that makes everything even more difficult: excessive guilt and self-demand. Many people believe that asking for help is a sign of weakness, that taking a break means laziness, or that taking time for yourself is selfish. But this mentality is extremely harmful. When you are exhausted, your performance at work worsens, your patience with your children decreases, and your relationship with your partner deteriorates. In the end, trying to do everything alone only harms all areas of life even more. And the worst thing is that this situation is more common than we imagine. Many families go through this, many couples face the same challenges. The good news is that there are solutions. Small changes can have a huge impact, and it is these changes that we will talk about in the next few minutes. Now, tell me here in the comments, have you ever felt this pressure of having to handle everything and at the end of the day feeling exhausted? Right here, I want to change this. If you want to learn ways to balance your life and get out of this cycle of overload, to break out of the overload cycle and finally achieve real balance, we need to focus on 3 essential pillars: smart time management, partnership in marriage, and conscious parenting. When these 3 aspects are aligned, life begins to flow in a lighter and more organized way. And it all starts with the way we deal with our time. The truth is that no one has time to spare, but those who learn to better manage your priorities, you can do much more without feeling exhausted. The first necessary change is eliminate unnecessary tasks and stop saying yes to everything. We often overload ourselves with commitments that add nothing simply out of habit or fear of disappointing others. Furthermore, techniques such as time blocking, which consists of setting aside blocks of time for specific tasks, can help you stay focused and avoid that feeling that everything is being done halfway. Another fundamental strategy is to learn to delegate. If you try to solve everything on your own, you will end up drained. Distributing responsibilities, whether at work or at home, allows you to have more time for what really matters. But there is no point in having an organized routine if things are not well adjusted within the marriage. The second pillar for balance is partnership within the relationship. Lack of communication is one of the biggest reasons for frustration among couples because it creates unmet expectations and silent resentment. If each person expects the other to guess what needs to be done, the result will always be dissatisfaction. Therefore, it is essential to have a clear dialogue about each person's needs and responsibilities. The Division of tasks must be fair, not just help, because the house and children are the responsibility of both. And more than that, it is essential to create quality moments together. It doesn't have to be anything big. A walk, a coffee without distractions, a conversation before bed can make a huge difference in the couple's connection. The problem is that many people put off relationships until later, as if it were something that could wait. But the truth is, when there is no solid foundation between the couple, everything else becomes more difficult. And the third essential pillar is the conscious parenting. Many parents end up taking on all the responsibilities themselves because they believe it is right. But in fact, one of the greatest gifts you can give your children is to teach them autonomy. Children who learn from an early age to participate in household chores and be responsible for small activities grow up more confident and independent. And this does not mean overloading the child, but rather allowing them to develop important life skills. Furthermore, establish healthy routines helps the whole family function better. Well-defined times for sleeping, studying, and even leisure moments create predictability and reduce the chaos of everyday life. A family that has an organized structure is able to enjoy moments together much more because they are not always chasing losses. And in the end, this balance between time, relationships, and family is what allows life to be lived more fully without that constant feeling of exhaustion. Now tell me here in the comments, which of these three pillars do you feel needs to improve the most? Write, "I want more balance," if this content made sense to you. Many people still believe in some wrong ideas about balance in personal and professional life, and this ends up generating more frustration and fatigue. One of the biggest myths we need to debunk is that you can handle everything on your own. This mentality causes many people to try to carry all the responsibilities without asking for help, thinking that this is a sign of strength or competence. But the truth is that no one can do everything without burning out. Delegating tasks, both at work and at home, is not weakness. It is intelligence. If you try to do everything yourself, what happens? You overwhelm yourself, you get frustrated, and in the end, you still feel like you didn't do enough. Learning to share responsibilities and accept support not only improves your quality of life, but also strengthens the relationships around you, whether in marriage, raising children, or in the professional environment. Having a support network is essential so that you can focus on what really matters and avoid burnout. Another very common myth is the idea that being a good father or mother means being present 100% of the time. This creates a huge burden on parents who feel guilty for any time they are not there for their children. But let's think, what's more important, being physically present all the time or creating quality moments that really make a difference? There's no point spending the whole day with your child if your attention is on your cell phone, work, or anything else. What really matters is the connection you build with your child. Often, 30 minutes of attentive conversation and jokes are worth much more than hours spent next door, but without real presence. Furthermore, teaching children to have autonomy and occupy their own space is also essential for their emotional growth. So, if you've ever felt guilty about not being available all the time, take a deep breath and remember, what counts is the quality of time you offer, not the quantity. And finally, one of the biggest misconceptions about relationships: strong marriage survives without effort. This idea is a big trap because it makes many couples believe that if they are experiencing difficulties, it is because something is wrong. But the truth is that any relationship needs ongoing care. No one builds a solid relationship without dedication. Over time, if there is no effort to maintain the connection, the marriage can go into automatic mode and begin to wear down. Small daily gestures, such as showing affection, talking about the day, making plans together, are what keep a relationship alive. And it doesn't have to be anything grand. Sometimes a simple "How was your day?" said with real interest already makes all the difference. The problem is that many couples only stop taking care of their relationship when they are on the verge of collapse. So, here's the question. What can you do today to strengthen your relationship? Write here in the comments, I want a stronger relationship, if you agree that love needs continuous effort. Now that we understand the challenges and demystify some beliefs about balance, it's time to get our hands dirty. And the best part? You don't need to wait for a perfect moment to start. Small changes in your daily life will bring incredible results. The first practical tip is to implement a weekly planning meeting with your partner. It may seem simple, but dedicating 20 or 30 minutes a week to aligning the routine, dividing tasks, and adjusting expectations can completely transform the couple's dynamics. Many fights happen because one person feels overwhelmed and the other doesn't even notice. Having this moment of conversation avoids accumulated frustrations and helps both of you feel more connected and aligned. Furthermore, this meeting doesn't have to be something formal and tiring. It can be a coffee together on Sunday morning or a quick chat before bed. The important thing is to create the habit of communicate intentionally, planning the week in a way that works for both of you. Another essential action to avoid overload is to create a home organization system that works for the whole family. Many houses operate improvised, and this creates chaos. When no one knows exactly what their responsibilities are, everything falls to one person, and then stress and exhaustion appear. To change this, a good strategy is set fixed tasks for each member of the household, according to the age and availability of each person. This applies to both the couple and their children. Having a visible board with responsibilities or using an organization app can make this process easier. Another valuable tip is to adopt the did it, keep it rule. That is, each person is responsible for immediately organizing what they used. It looks small, but it drastically reduces accumulated clutter. The more organized your home is, the less mental energy will be spent dealing with unforeseen events, and the more time you will have to truly enjoy moments together. And speaking of moments together, one of the most powerful actions you can take today is to establish a daily ritual of connecting with children. Often, in the rush of everyday life, parents end up feeling guilty for not being able to spend as much time with their children. But as we have already said, what really matters is the quality of that time. Creating a small ritual, such as reading a story before bed, asking about the day at dinner, or having a moment to play, helps to strengthen the bond and ensures that even on the busiest days, this connection is not lost. This time doesn't have to be long, but it does need to be 100% present. No cell phone, no distractions, just genuine attention. And this makes a huge difference to children's self-esteem and emotional development. Small changes like these will have a huge positive impact on your routine. Now tell me here in the comments, which of these tips will you apply first? Write, I want more balance in my life, if this content made sense to you. We've reached the end of this video, but this journey towards a more balanced life is just beginning. What I want you to take away from here is that balance is not an unattainable destination, but rather the result of small changes made consistently. If you apply at least one of the tips we talked about today, you will already feel the difference in your daily life. And remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Start adjusting your routine little by little, identifying where the biggest challenges are, and implementing solutions that make sense for your reality. The most important thing is to understand that you have the power to transform your life. Just take the first step. So, how about starting now? Choose one of the actions we talk about here and put it into practice today. Now I want to hear from you. What challenges you most in adult life? Is it an overload of responsibilities, lack of time for family, The challenge of balancing career and personal life? Tell me here in the comments. Your participation is very important because this way we can exchange experiences and learn together. I always read the comments and love seeing how each of you is applying these learnings in your everyday life. What's more, if this content helped you in any way, take the opportunity to share it with that person who also needs to find more balance in their life. Sometimes a video like this can be just what someone needs to shift perspective and begin a real transformation. And of course, if you like this video, leave a like because it helps me a lot to continue bringing content like this to you. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos. Every week we have practical tips and powerful insights to help you build a lighter and more balanced life. Oh, and if you made it this far, comment "I choose balance" so I know that you followed everything and are committed to making these changes. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and see you in the next video.